say for instance, I'm running the business and I'm going to give you a percentage of the profits. And then I realized that, man, I got all these expenses and I don't seem to be making a profit. I'm sorry, Kevin, but this is just another week. We don't have another profit. Like, how do you know that they're not inflating their costs?
That's a really good question. The settlement form that we're given as musicians, and then those also get sent to leadership at the union, shows a breakdown. So there are certain things, certain numbers that we are able to see, like what's called the NAGBOR, the net adjust gross box office receipts. So you'll see that number, but perhaps you won't see everything broken out, like labor and all these expenses like you're talking about. It's interesting because you might not see those things. And those might just be a number in a cell on a spreadsheet. But yeah, I guess that brings up an interesting point of, could that be made up and be like, oh, well, no, sorry, this week we didn't get an overage, so you don't get your bonus, because it isn't a guarantee. And I know plenty of musicians that would argue that I would rather have a higher weekly salary and not take that gamble on an overage. And that's completely valid. I totally agree, actually. That's why it's important to know a show's history and the business of a show. Like, has your show been successful on Broadway? Did it actually turn a profit? Was it one of those rare occurrences that it did that? Because chances are it could potentially still do that on tour. But what's the subject matter of the show? Is it going to play to middle America? Is it on, oh, this is a big one. Is it on subscription? Specifically, when Hamilton was in its heyday, is it on the Hamilton subscription? Because what theaters across the United States started doing was, if you wanted to see Hamilton, you had to be a season subscriber. So if you were on Hamilton subscription at these theaters, your show was going to make money, regardless of if you sold tickets outside of the subscription, because people got in line to go see Hamilton. So they bought season passes. They may not have come to, a few of the shows in the season, but they didn't care. They would pay that money just to come see Hamilton.
So how would that affect your money as someone that's coming in and playing Pretty Woman during that subscription season?
If Pretty Woman the musical were on subscription with Hamilton at the Orpheum Theater in San Francisco, we would have a guaranteed ticket sale, no matter what. Even if they didn't show up, doesn't matter. They bought the ticket because it's part of the subscription.
So you would kind of know how much you're going to get in an overage if it's part of the subscription season, correct?
Not necessarily. There's so much more math that goes into, dynamic pricing. There is a guarantee, obviously, in every city that is had. There's a guaranteed number that the show will make at that theater. And then anything above that, I mean, ticket prices are all different in every theater you go to. But what's interesting is that they do not charge a different ticket price for a non-union show. So non-union tours and union tours, obviously, they make the same amount of money. I mean, that's just a theater. That's a city-specific thing, right? Like, New Orleans at the Sanger Theater charges this amount for an orchestra seat at a show. It doesn't really matter what kind of show it is.